All right, guys, we are live. Fight Bananas in the building. UFC pioneer, Dana White Contender Series legend, my man Dean Thomas. How you doing, brother?
Well, I'm doing good, man, but you got it wrong. No, it's not the contender series. It's
Oh,
looking
looking
for
for
a
a
fight.
fight.
It's all good. No, it's all good though, man. Like I'm just trying to be a part of the game, man. It's been so long. I'm just glad to be here.
Right, right. How about UFC Fight Pass, Island Fights? Commentator. You're all over the place. You're American Top Team coach. You're in the game. You are the
I
game.
I, I try to stay busy, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Island Fights. Shout out to TJ DeSantis, Island Fights, and I'll be seeing you at the events too. So it's good to see you always there.
Appreciate it, man. Great to see you. Before we go into a crazy busy week in mixed martial arts, like always, Quintet Ultra, Thursday night, UFC Fight Pass, Saturday night, UFC 245, one of the best cards of the year. There's two great things about you I want to talk about real quick. Is one, your Instagram music stories is on point. There you
Yeah,
go. And
thank you
two
very
is
much.
and your Twitter game, the swimming lessons. You looking good out there, man. You're right there.
Yeah, I'm
I
I'm
think you're
I'm
right.
almost there. I'm almost there. I'm not ready to get in the ocean yet, but I'm almost there.
Well, who wants to swim in the ocean, man? There's sharks out there.
That's what I try to tell people. I'm like,
Right.
between the sharks and the current, you're like, you
Oh,
destined to die.
man.
So I'm not trying to do that.
There's pools with cleaner water and no animals in them at all. I don't get it. You
Well,
know?
not the pool I was in today. It had like a dead cat in there or something. I don't know.
All right. Oh my gosh. Here we go. Quintet Ultra UFC 245. We'll talk about it first. This is Thursday, December 12th. UFC Fight Pass. You got King Mo, down there. You got a lot of American top team representation. When did you hear about it? Are you a fan of these grappling fights? I would love your take just on the whole realm of it.
Yeah, I'm a fan of it. I mean, I don't really know too much about because there's always like big grappling matches coming up, so I'm not really too savvy on this one. I saw
Oh,
like some of the lineup of it, but I'm a fan of it because I think that when guys can't compete in mixed martial arts anymore, they need an outlet to compete, and I think that grappling is always a good outlet because you can go hard, you can prepare
right.
for it the same way. And I mean, it's less injury, and it's fun. Like it's always fun to watch like guys you watch coming up fighting to watch them grapple each other because you always wanted to know what happened in the room when you trained with this guy. So you get a chance to see how
Right.
good they were in the room, but you get a chance to see what are competing. So I think it's a good thing. I'll never do it, but I think it's a good thing.
That and what the thing I love about this event in particular is it's the whole WEC Strike Force Pride versus UFC. It's just really cool. It's 20 fighters. It's like an all-star game. The UFC, there's no all-star team. There's a card. UFC Washington, UFC 245. There's great fights, but you've never seen Anthony Smith, Anthony Johnson, Sean O'Malley, Clay Guida, and then Babalu, and
Yeah,
King
that's
Mo,
great. That's awesome. I think
right?
it's great. I think it's
Sakuraba,
beautiful. Yeah, I think
right?
it's beautiful. Yeah,
Right.
I love it. So yeah, now that I'm thinking about like that, the concept of that is great, and I mean it's just good camaraderie too because you know
Right.
sometimes in fights when guys go to fights they get all bent out of shape and worn out, but like something like this, these guys can have fun, they can have a beer afterwards, and it's just a lot of fun for not only the competitors but everybody watching.
Of course. And one thing you said I'm going to pick up on right away that I think you nailed it. These fighters love to compete. They compete every single day inside and outside of the gym. And, the best fighters in the world, UFC top end, Amanda Nunes, right? She fights two, maybe three times a year. So these fighters like Sean O'Malley and Gilbert Burns, they want to keep the juices flowing. They want the competition. So if they can't get a UFC fight until spring, boom, they get in this Quintet Ultra. They can roll with the best fighters in the world. Just keep, like you said, the juices flowing. I think it's a great outlet, and it keeps their name buzzing too.
Yeah, I always tell people, I have Jillian Robertson, she competes a lot in grappling tournaments just to stay busy when she doesn't have a fight. And I'm trying to do that with Kayla Rocco as well. Like if we can't get her fights as frequently as we want, hey, let's just do some grappling tournaments. Stay out there. Let's just
Right.
keep your name in everybody's mouth. Keep your face in everybody's face. So like that's the key.
Right. We won't say it here, but Kayla might be busy soon, but we'll talk off air. We'll talk
Yeah,
off
yeah,
air.
we'll talk off there, right? Yeah.
And yeah, Jillian, oh my, we love her. Fight Banana, she was on the first episode, somewhere in the 50s. She was the 100th podcast. Yeah, we're diehard Jillian Savage Robertson
Oh,
fans.
really?
She talks about you all the time. She's family. It's great. We love Jillian here on the Pipe and Nest podcast.
She was probably high and just giggling the whole time.
Oh, yeah. She says, "Hey,
Yeah,
baby, I care," and she talks about CBD. That's it.
yeah, for sure.
Okay, let's get into it. This card is epic, right? UFC 245. The thing I've been bringing up the most about this card, and almost everyone I talk to, it's cool. They're starting to agree with me a little bit on it, and I like that, right? Amanda Nunes, the most underrated, not female, mixed martial artist in the world today. She's not in the main event. She's not in the co-main. She's in the third fight in. I think Amanda Nunes is just one of the best fighters, period. Her versus GDR. What do you think about that fight? And do you have the same aspect that I do about Amanda being a little underrated, or you think, no, she's slotted where she should be?
No, I mean she's obviously a bit underrated, but I think that has more to do with now when you talk about underrated, I think you're talking about public perception of what she is and why she's not in the main event. But I think some of that kind of has to do with her because she doesn't really want to be out there and doing all the media stuff, and that's what's required if you want to have them top spots. Like if you want that top spot like Colby got, you got to get out in people's face and either make them love you or make them hate you. And Amanda's not like that. Amanda likes to hang out at home, eat chicken wings, drink beer, and just have a good time, and that's fine. So like, but if you want to have your career like that, then you can't expect to headline the shows really. So you can't have it both ways. But I think in terms of her ability, what she's done in the last couple of years has just been remarkable. Not only finishing people, but I mean, not only winning fights, but just finishing the girls that everybody thought couldn't be beaten. She's finished them. So I think what she's done is remarkable. And if you want to call her not only just the GOAT, I mean, the female GOAT, but the GOAT, I mean, she can be in the race for the GOAT between her and John Jones. And if she puts a stamp on Germaine de Randamie this weekend, I think it's clear. It's clear it's GOAT.
And one of the debates I got into, Amanda Nunes has beat the females number 2 through 7. The 2 through 7, the Mount Rushmore of females and the best in the world, right? Amanda's beat them. It's just an incredible run she's been on. And like you said, how she stops them, what she did to Cyborg. She puts these, these iconic moments in there. And, I just love Amanda. She's, I think she'll take care of business. Not looking over GDR at all, but I just love Amanda in this spot. And, UFC 245.
Now, I will say to this, Joe, is that, all these girls do present unique challenges. And Germaine presents a unique challenge being that she's long. And she does. So Amanda knocked out Cyborg, right? But Germaine de Randamie is a better pure striker, more technically sound striker than Cyborg. So I don't think it'll be that easy for Amanda to just get her hands on Germaine de Randamie that way like she did Cyborg. So, and she's long and she's tall and judges distance well. But Amanda's just a much more complete athlete. Now, the only thing that it troubles me about Amanda sometimes is that when she likes her opponents, she seems to not be motivated to put them away. When she's fired up, I was with her when she fought Ronda Rousey, she was fired up, and you saw what happened in that fight. Cyborg fight, there was some like bad blood, like some Brazilian beef. She was fired up, put her away. But when she fought Raquel Pennington, who are friends, she kind of takes off the gas a little bit. And with this fight against Germaine de Randamie, when you saw them at the press conference, they were very friendly. So that kind of concerns me a little bit sometimes with Amanda. But I don't think it'll be a problem. I think Amanda's a professional. She'll get the job done, and she'll treat herself as a professional.
Right. And Dean, I love this point. I love your your inside take on it, and that's great. Is that something you can say? Is this something you can say to Coach Brown and be like, hey, we got to tell Amanda, hey, we see this a little bit. We need a fire now. It's fight week. The weight cut is going. Last week we're hitting the pads a little bit harder. Like, Amanda, we need this. Is this something you and Amanda can talk about, or you and Coach Brown can talk about?
No, see, that's the thing with Amanda is that, like, you can't tell her nothing. She knows what she needs, and that's what the thing with her. Like, if you try to tell her, she's gonna be like, no. But if you just leave it to her own devices, she'll figure it out and make it work for her. And I have complete faith in her. I trust her, and I know she'll figure it out. I just don't want her to be too nice to JDR because I know what she's capable of, and I don't want her to be too nice to this girl because this girl is, she's a great fighter, but she doesn't deserve to beat Amanda for as good as Amanda is.
Right. I agree. Let's skip to the co-main event. Featherweight championship on the line. Alexander the Great, Max Holloway, which you can say he's great as well. 6 straight years, featherweight division, undefeated. I would love your inside take on Max Holloway versus Alexander.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you have this information on you, but I would like to know what the betting lines are on this fight.
Max Holloway minus 180.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Um, I I almost think that's a bit unfair to Volkanovski, and I don't think they're
Ooh,
giving him enough credit.
wow.
I studied Volkanovski, and he is dynamic. He's super quick. He's super smart. He fights with good strategy. He closes the distance faster than almost anybody I've seen. And I think he's going to. I think he can. He has the ability to present problems to Max because Max is a volume fighter. Max isn't the one punch knockout type guy. And when you fight a guy who judges distance as well as Volkanovski and closes distance as well as Volkanovski, Max
Yeah.
is going to have a hard time accumulating on him because he won't get the opportunities to get his hands on him unless he can back Volkanovski up. And I don't see that happening. So this is going to be a much closer fight than I think people are giving Volkanovski credit for.
Right. And we'll get into all six. So Amanda, the greatest of all time. GDR, who has been there before, has been a UFC champion. Max Holloway, living legend, just undefeated for 6 years. We'll talk about the main event, but both guys are getting a ton of buzz. And this is one thing I brought up too, and I love how you said it. All six of these guys, the guy that's underneath the radar, the guy with the big chip on his shoulder going into this weekend, the guy that's not getting the media press and the media podcast and all that stuff is Alexander. He is definitely being overlooked, underrated, chip on the shoulder, and sometimes I love that for a amazing, talented fighter of Alexander. And going into this fight, it's a little bit of Drago in Rocky 4 when he's fighting Creed. Underrated, just vicious, and that's a good call. That's something that
Yeah,
could.
you don't overlook him because he will be able to he will be smart enough to not take any dumb chances and get hit a lot. He'll close the distance fast, and once he's got you up against the cage, his transitions on the cage are remarkable. So I think Max Holloway's got his work cut out for him this weekend, and Max is probably still going to be the favorite regardless. But trust me, I think that's if I was a betting man, I wouldn't put my money on Max.
Wow. Okay.
Just because I think and not that I'm saying that Volkanovski is going to win, but I think there's more value in the underdog of that fight.
Right. Right. Love it. Let's get into the main event here. I wish these guys maybe, talked a little bit or had a little bit of rivalry that, we can care about it. It's one of these fights that, no one cares about, right? Covington versus Usman.
Yeah, who
Uh,
cares about that
yeah,
fight?
it's like, they got no bad blood, no rival. It's
Yeah.
whatever. Unbelievable fight. Welterweight championship on the line, and especially the 2019 year of the welterweights with Georgie Masvidal, BMF, Diaz, Connor, and Cerrone in January. It's just this swell of welterweight gold in 2020. But UFC 245 first, the championship's on the line. I would love Covington versus Usman. What do you think happens?
Well, as my good friend from ESPN West Palm would say, it's the race war. It's the race war. Covington and Usman. Josh Cohen coined that. Josh Cohen.
I
But
love it.
yeah.
Love it.
So anyway, that's a very interesting fight, and I think that fight is kind of similar in terms of the attributes that the athletes bring to the table, kind of similar to Max Holloway and Volkanovski, because I think that Usman is taller and longer and presents that problem of length, especially in the grappling exchanges. He is longer and he's very hard to get a hold of, and his arms are longer than you think, so he can control things that most people can't control from different spots. But I think in terms of speed, balance, and explosiveness, I think Colby edges Usman in that. I think Colby's quicker. I think he moves his feet better in better ways, and I think he's a little bit more unpredictable in terms of using his speed and changing speed up. So it's an interesting fight, and everybody's saying it may come down to cardio. If it comes down to cardio, I give the advantage to Colby a little bit. I think Colby could win
Agree.
that battle. Yeah, I think Colby could win that battle of cardio if it does come down to that. So, but it's an interesting fight. Like if it just depends on who's able to employ their strategy for the longest, because I can't really see either guy shutting the other one out. I can see one guy winning 2 rounds, both guys winning 2 rounds, and the third one being really close. And that's kind of the way I see this fight's going to be, really. And I really don't know who's going to win. It's just going to matter of who can get the judges to watch them longer and have that bias from the judges to get the nod. Uh-oh, I hope I didn't lose you.
We lost you. Okay, you're.
Oh, am I here? Are you there?
Yes, sir. You're here.
What was the
Yeah, you were
last thing?
saying that you think it could be a close fight. A close fight. You think it's going to go down to the wire 3-2 probably.
Yeah, 3-2. And then I was just saying in that third round, whichever round it is, I think it's going to come down to whoever can get the judges biased by having the judges look at them more. And that typically might be the guy who's moving more, which is Colby. So it's tough to
Right.
say, but Colby has a lot of advantages in this fight going in just based on how much he moves and how dynamic and explosive he can be, in which the judges are watching that as opposed to watching Usman, who's a little bit more laid back and law, but he's effective, but he's a little bit more laid back. But the judges don't like to see that.
Right. And this fight got announced. I thought the same thing for a long time. I'm like, oh, it's going to go down the wire. I think Colby's got this underrated, unseen pace that you just don't know until you're in the octagon with, and then it's just hard to kind of catch up. And I thought this for the longest time, and then something clicked last week. I was like, oh, there's just some men in the game you don't cross that line with. Habib Nurmagomedov is that same way. Like him versus Quintet, great fight, 25 minutes. So they had like a little respect each other, and Al's a tough guy. Connor pushed the wrong buttons, right? And I think Colby Covington has pushed Usman the wrong buttons. I think Usman might stop Covington quick. And that's
Think
just
so?
my take. Yes, sir, I do.
See, it's hard for
And
me to suggest that because Usman has never, I mean, with the exception of Sergio Morai, he's never knocked anybody out. That's his only knockout. Sergio Morai is very flat-footed and very easy to hit. He did clock a few other Sean Strickland. He clocked him pretty good. He's clocked some guys pretty good. But I think it's going to be hard to stop Colby because Colby moves so much.
No,
He's
you're
going to
right.
move. He's going to move around a lot. So it'll be a challenge, though. But and also too, we have to take into account what they did in preparation for the fights. So like, if Usman has really decided that I need to stop this guy because he did push my buttons, you're right. Then he's going to be looking for that more so than he's done in any other fight. So again, that's one thing that we don't know what they did in preparation to prepare for it. We can look at previous fights and hypothesize what we think will happen, but we'll never know what they did in preparation for these fights.
Absolutely. UFC 245, Din Thomas with us. We appreciate your time so much. I would love one more fight. Is it Aldo Morales, Uriah Faber? Mike Perry's on the card. Chase Hooper debuts.
Yeah, this is such good fights. Yeah, a lot of good fights.
It's insane, right? It's a great card. Matt Brown versus Ben Saunders. Is there one that you're really excited to see? Are you excited to see maybe Uriah Faber in the octagon one more time against another young stud like he just did? Is there one that really stands out that you're like, okay, yeah, I'm watching this?
Well, first off, I'll say this. I'm going to talk about two fights. I hope I don't run out of time. But two fights is this. I think Uriah Faber got lucky the first time against what's his name? I can't think of his name right now, but I think Faber got a little lucky in that fight. He clipped him, and
a little quick stoppage.
Yeah, a little quick stoppage, and he just clipped him. But I don't see that happen against Peter Yan. Peter Yan is a killer.
Simone.
Yeah, Ricky Simone. But Peter Yan is a killer. I don't think Faber does very well in this fight. I think he's just a little too old and he hasn't been in the game for a long enough time on his comeback to beat a guy like that. If he does, listen, I'm always rooting for the old guys. Now, the fight I'm really interested in is obviously Jose Aldo and Marlon Moraes. It's tough to say because, Aldo, like, what is he doing going down to 135? Like, first of all, like, he struggled to make 145, and he's always had cardio problems. I don't know if this is a good move for him, but he's always dangerous. But I think Marlon Moraes, I think he learned his lesson by getting knocked out by Henry Cejudo to not underestimate anybody. I think he learned that lesson. I think that he's going to go into this fight with a bit of a chip on his shoulder because he does want to take out the legend of Jose Aldo. I think he stops Aldo, actually. I don't see Aldo doing very well, but he does have 2 minutes in that fight, somewhere in that fight where he's the most explosive guy the UFC's ever seen and the most dangerous guy the UFC's ever seen. But I think once Moraes figures that out, I think he stops Aldo.
Wow. I love it. I agree on a lot of the terms. I love your inside take. Your details in the game. It's a pleasure to have you on. We're going to have you on again, like I said, at the end, 2019. So much positive momentum. I've just talked to Danny Sabatello yesterday, American Top Team. He's main event in Titan FC 58. And next week, there's just so much. Masvidal, Jillian had a great year. Kayla's coming up. Just all the females. Kayla Harrison's for the PFL title. Just so much great momentum for American Top Team. So we'll definitely have one more talk before the end of the year.
Yeah, for sure.
The floor
Man.
is yours. Yeah, if you want to talk about anything, plug anything, push anything, a funny joke, whatever you want, the floor is yours to end it.
No, I don't have any funny jokes. I feel a little bad though because I got like this black background behind me and I'm dark, so I'm probably like a floating head and teeth talking to you on here on this on the Skype. So
You're pulling it off. You know,
I
you're
did.
pulling it off.
Was I able to pull it off? Yeah, I hope I was able to pull it. Well, listen, we got another episode of Dana White Looking for a Fight coming out pretty soon when we went to Hawaii and got the chance to spend some time with Max Holloway. So that I'm not sure exactly when they're going to release that, but that should be out pretty soon. So just check that out and check out all the people I'm working with. You know, like I got Kayla Rocco coming up with a lot of stuff. So I don't know, man. Just look out for me, man. You know, I'm trying to do my thing. Just look out.
Dean Thomas, man, we appreciate you like always. You're always welcome on the show. We love you. We'll talk to you very soon, all right?
Thanks, man. I appreciate you.
All right, we'll save it.
Peace.